Welcome back to the video series on technologies for the Electromagnate board game. This video will be looking at Rama's arrow. Rama's arrow is an ancient technology that rivals a nuclear warhead device, and when purchased it can be placed on any node and then remotely detonated by the current owner. So within the game session, it is the third round and is the start of the Shadowmare's turn. They still have some leftover power points, so the Blackjack will purchase Rama's arrow from the technology deck, and he will equip it to his person. In the same turn, the Blackjack can place Rama's arrow on this particular node and then detonate it. Placing Rama's arrow and detonating it are two separate and deliberate actions, but they can both be done within the same turn. So having detonated Rama's arrow, it creates a blast wave that extends one line segment from its source. So practically it will affect all nodes and line segments between its source. Rama's arrow will destroy all components that reside on line segments between nodes and the source, as well as megalithic structures. It will also generate an EMP blast that will render any technologies within this radius inoperable. So to step through the effect of Rama's arrow, it extends to each of these 5 line segments and destroys the components that have been placed on it. This effectively releases control of any previously owned circuits. The destroyed components go back into the component deck. They are placed on the bottom of the component deck. And from the last turn, the Red Jack purchased an obelisk as well as the magnetron. So the Rama's arrow also destroys any megalithic structure. So the obelisk goes back to its pool and renders the magnetron inoperable. So the magnetron remains face down on the node it was currently on, or in the event that a technology is possessed by a character, it will be flipped over to show that it is inoperable, but still in the possession of that character. Okay. One caveat with Rama's arrow is that should the possessor place Rama's arrow and move away from it, another character, regardless of their faction, could hypothetically move in and claim Rama's arrow for themselves. This action effectively removes the removes the link that the previous owner had to Rama's arrow, and so the deliberate command to detonate Rama's arrow is no longer valid for the previous owner. Rama's arrow will not respond to the previous owner's command to detonate. Okay, this concludes the video on Rama's arrow.